Hello, and welcome to OKYO's opening concert for the 2024-25 seasons featuring our festival groups. My name is Chris Marcus. I'm the Executive Director of OKYO. We're very glad to have so many family members here today. These kids have been working so hard, our conductors, and I'm so glad you're here to see so that we can showcase them. We have a lot of really wonderful community partners that help us do our work each and every week, and I'd like to take a moment to highlight those people and organizations. Our season presenting sponsor is Richard and Glenna Tannenbaum. We'd like to thank Allied Arts, the Oklahoma Arts Council, the Harris Foundation, the American Fidelity Foundation, the Vote Family Fund, the Everest Family Fund, and the Ad Astra Foundation. Would you please help me thank these sponsors? And very quickly, before we get started, would you please take a moment to make sure your cell phones are silenced? Please feel free to take pictures if you would like. This concert is being recorded, both audio and video, and the links to the performance today, it usually takes us about a couple weeks to get them, and we will distribute those to all your families at no charge. So, without further ado, I would like to welcome Festival Winds under the direction of Miss Janey Akagha.
Saturday afternoons at your favorite football game. That was on Wisconsin, arranged by Lavender. As I programmed this piece this summer, I was inspired by the election year we would be in, and instead of highlighting any politics or political candidates, I was inspired instead to think of America in a broader view. And I hope today, as we experience America and the music that comes from this place in this broader view, I hope we would all experience the work of unity. Our next tune is called Appalachian Hoedown. And I'd like you to imagine for a minute you live in the Appalachian Mountains and your best friend just tuned up their fiddles and you grabbed your washboard from the kitchen. We're all heading to a clearing in the woods for a hootenanny, which I've heard that word my whole life, and I never knew hootenanny means informal musical gathering for folk music and dancing. So there you go. Maybe you learned that with me today. So we're about to have a hootenanny up in this place, and the hope here is that we can experience and celebrate the culture and the community that's found informally within the places we live. titled Shenandoah, and I think we can all recognize this familiar folk song, and actually probably one of the most popular shanties. A shanty is a song sailors would sing to complete a task in sink, so like lifting a sail or paddling their boats. This piece, Shenandoah, the song, was written likely by Canadian French voyagers who were looking to trade furs with Native Americans in the Great Lakes area in the 16th century, and likely sang this song as they were paddling their boats. And some of the most recognizable lyrics of this song is, "Oh Shenandoah, I long to see you." It speaks about loving your daughter, and it's misleading because this piece actually is not about a person or the love of an individual, but rather the love of home and the longing to be there. So this piece celebrates America and the places here that we feel like are home. Our next piece is titled Ghost Lights from the Brown Mountains in North Carolina. The ghost lights are actually, onlookers have made claims that for centuries they can look across the mountain range and see lights, flashing colors, blinking, moving, and then they disappear. And there's been lots of explanations for this, or theories. Some scientists say people just don't realize they're seeing a car moving through the mountains, or an onlooker with a big flashing beam light. Others say maybe it's gases, natural gases in the area, and there's even a legend that says it's a Cherokee maiden looking for her husband who was lost in war. So there's no real conclusion. I wonder, has anybody in the audience gone to the Brown Mountain Lights to look at them? I know there's at least a student on stage who has. Anyway, this piece is a lot of fun. I would like to give a warning that we will have flashing lights in this performance, so if you're a photosensitive viewer, please be warned about that. But I hope you enjoy it. This piece is scheduled in this concert to celebrate and reflect the natural wonders, maybe the paranormal experiences, but all the things that we can't control or contain or understand. And we get to celebrate the beauty and the magnificence of that. Thank you. Before we play our final tune, I'd like to thank the newest member of our Festival Winds team, Miss Jamie Hale, joining us in the saxophone section. Yes. It's a dream come true to be able to make music with Jamie by my side, and we've never been able to prepare 5 pieces for a concert before, and that's due to the work and the additional help of Jamie Hale. She's just been excellent at carrying at the heart level and the musical level for each child, and grateful to have her here on this team. Our final piece is titled Scream by Randall Standridge. This piece was actually written in a project called the Unbroken Project. He created this project to highlight mental health, and the idea behind Scream is the awareness that we all have feelings, and it's best not to repress them, to stuff them in, or to hold them back and then paint the way that we experience the world through them. But it's best instead to channel them, and to channel them into our music, a good workout, and if all else, a good scream. So I didn't know how the election cycle was going to go, and no matter what side of the aisle you're on, I know there's stressors both in politics and just in everyday life. So if you've got something billowing inside of you that you need to let out, there's going to be 4 screams in this piece. Let it go. Let it out. This is a safe space to scream. So please enjoy our final piece, Scream.
touches up here. While I have you captive here for just a moment, I wanted to make sure you were all aware that our website is, I didn't build it, I had nothing to do with it, but it's awesome, and it has everything that you need to know about OKYO, about Festival Strings, Festival Wins. There is at the very bottom of the website, there's a Current Students tab where you can go every week to find your weekly update and other relative information like absence reports. We need everybody, if you're gonna miss because you're ill or you have a school conflict, we really appreciate it if you could fill out that absence report so we know who's coming. I do hope that you are getting the weekly updates. They go out every Thursday, and if we're organized enough, they go out at 10 o'clock in the morning, so you can always kind of look for that 10 o'clock timestamp on Thursdays to find out what you need to know about Festival Wins and Festival Strings. We also use the apps GroupMe and Remind. Festival Strings uses GroupMe, Festival Wins uses Remind. Those links are in the weekly update. We really hope you join those apps in our groups because we use those to communicate kind of last minute, quick update information. So we use that as a resource as well. Also, you guys have Monday night off. Tomorrow night, there's no rehearsal since we are here spending our time together today. So I just want to quickly introduce our three conductors for Festival Strings. Mr. Mark Osborn conducts Festival Strings Norman, and is an OYO alumni himself. Miss Kristin Geist conducts Festival Strings Oklahoma City, and she's also an alum, right? Yeah. And Miss Gena Alexander is new to the team this year, taking on Festival Strings Edmond. So you're in for a treat today. Here we go with Festival Strings. Thank you.
thank Mrs. Geist for that wonderful version of, what was it? At the Grasshopper Ball. This might be my first and last concert with the festival strings because I had a triangle solo in that piece, and I was more worried about turning this microphone on that I forgot my solo. So you missed a triangle part, but we are so glad to have you here today. My name is Gena Alexander, and along with my colleagues, Mr. Mark Osborn and Kristin Geist, we'd like to thank you for being here. This group is comprised of students who've been playing anywhere from 1 to maybe a couple of years, and I didn't want to ask them today, because it's a little awkward to say, this is my first orchestra concert ever, but that's very likely some of the cases up here on stage, and so for them to come together, we had an hour together. There's 3 different groups represented up here, Norman, Oklahoma City, and Edmond, and we had just about an hour to try to piece together these pieces today, and they're doing a great job, and so I'm just really proud of you, and we hope you enjoy our second piece.